Hey everyone, Kevin here with Divinely Designed, and we have a cosmetic video today. Today I'm going to be making an emulsified sugar scrub. I have a couple of meetings or whatever. I'm meeting a few friends coming up, so I have a couple of times that I'm going to be meeting a couple of friends, and I thought I would bring some gifts for them. So I'm going to be doing little packages of like a soap, a sugar scrub, and maybe a lotion or something like that, but just little cute packages that I'm gonna make up for them. So I'm gonna make a freshly made sugar scrub for them. This is gonna be an emulsified sugar scrub, which means it contains an emulsifier. So when you use it in the shower and you sort of rub vigorously with it, it actually turns into kind of almost like a lotion. As well as being sort of the scrubby part, which is for the exfoliation. Now, this is not a simple sugar scrub recipe, which I know some of you ask for simpler recipes from me sometimes, but you know me, I like to experiment with different kinds of things, so unfortunately this one's a little bit more complicated today. And I'm going to go over the recipe here in a second. But before I do that, I want to talk about just a couple of ingredients that are in my recipe. One is the emulsifier that I'm using is an E-wax, and that's here in this bowl here. This is called Silky E-wax, and it is from Nature's Garden. Now, Silky E-wax contains both Satira alcohol and Satira 20 sort of in it. And the cetyl alcohol, just kind of talk about that for a second. It's used to thicken and stabilize it, and it also acts as an emollient to the skin. The Satira 20 is an emulsifier, and that's what helps to bring sort of the oils and the water together. Now, those two things are already in the E-wax that I purchased from Nature's Garden, but you can purchase E-wax and then you could certainly add the cetyl alcohol separately. There's a couple of different things you could add here, but those things already are in my E-wax. Now, while this doesn't contain any water, this is an all oil preparation here. The emulsifier acts when you use it in the shower when you add sort of the water on your skin, it works then and it helps to bring the oil and water together so that you can form sort of that lotion on your skin while you're using it. Also, while this is an all oil preparation here, I do have a preservative in here, and my preservative that I am using is called Phenonip. Now, just a word about that. Phenonip does contain parabens. Now, there are plenty of people out there who don't want to use parabens and are concerned about them, and that's fine. If you don't want to use parabens, that's okay. I'm just going to talk very briefly about them. So the concern with parabens was there was a study done that showed that there were some breast cancer tumors that were found to contain parabens, and parabens themselves can have an estrogen-like quality to them in terms of how they affect the body. However, the FDA, as well as others, have conducted studies that have shown that while they did find, sort of these parabens that were in these tumors, those things were not found to cause the cancer. They just sort of happened to be there, and there's certainly more research to be done on that. But there have been follow-up studies, and if you go to the FDA website, you can see them. There were studies done in 2003, 2004, 2005, and I think their website was updated most recently in 2007. But all the studies so far have shown that parabens are totally safe to use in cosmetics. So I am using a preservative that contains a paraben. I believe, that even though this is an oil-only preparation, because of the way that it is used in the shower or in the bath, that there is a high probability for water to get in here, and with the introduction of water, you have the potential for growth of fungus or bacteria or all kinds of, bad creepy crawlies. And Phenonip is a preservative that works in both oil and water preparations. So that's why I'm using it, okay? And please don't ask me for a recipe without a preservative, because I believe that these kinds of things do need preservatives. If you don't, that's totally fine, and certainly you can make your recipes the way you want to. Okay, so that's just a quick word about that, about the preservative that's in here. Okay, so let's go over the recipe itself. This is based on doing 1,000 gram wet ingredients, which is all these things down here, and then an equal amount of sugar. So 1,000 grams of sugar, which is right back here. This is just plain old granulated sugar from the grocery store, nothing special about it. Okay, so in here I have 100 grams of my Silky wax. Here I have 15 grams of beeswax. Here I already have melted my oils and butters together, so I have 250 grams of sweet almond oil, 250 grams of rice bran oil, 150 grams of cocoa butter deodorized, and 150 grams of shea butter. In my little jar here, I have a couple of different things. So my preservative, I have 5 grams of Phenonip in here, 20 grams of vitamin E, 20 grams of my fragrance. In this case, I am using Earl Grey tea from Mad Oils, which I love this. It's a great, I think, unisex fragrance. And then also in here, I have 20 grams of Dimethicone and 20 grams of Cyclomethicone. The Cyclomethicone and the Dimethicone are both used to sort of leave the skin with a silky feel to it. And the Cyclomethicone can also help with sort of delivering the fragrance and sort of dispersing the fragrance itself. So that all of those things are located in here, and I've just sort of pre-mixed them together. Okay. I also have some color. So obviously the fragrance and the color are completely optional. You don't have to use them at all. I'm going to just use a very, very light blue color. For that, I'm using Royal Blue Celestial Colors. I am going to use a beater. I find that beating the sugar scrub together helps to sort of bring it all together. And then I'm going to be packaging them in some 8-ounce amber jars that we'll take a look at later. For right now, I'm going to add my E-wax and my beeswax to my oils and heat them up so everything is all melted together, and then we'll be right back. Okay, I have all of my wax melted with my oils. It's pretty warm right now because I just heated it, but I don't have anything that's super high sensitive to heat. Let me check my Phenonip actually. I just wanted to make sure the Phenonip didn't have any issues with heat, which is fine. Phenonip does have some problems with if you combine it with polysorbate 80 and some also with polysorbate 20, but temperature is not really the issue here. So, okay. I should have also mentioned that before I did everything is really clean, right? We want to use good manufacturing practices when we're doing a cosmetic, something like this. Okay, I'm going to add all of my other ingredients, so my vitamin E, my fragrance, my cyclomethicone, my dimethicone, my preservative. Okay, get that all in there. And let's just give that a stir. That Earl Grey tea is just, oh, that smells so good. Okay, so I have equal amounts. I have 1,000 grams of my my wet ingredients here, and then I have 1,000 grams of sugar. Now that's where I'm going to start with. I may want to add more sugar depending on the consistency, and depending on what you like, you may want to add more sugar too. So all I'm going to do is just add this in here. Okay, so this is very liquid, you can see. Now, it's still very warm, so when it cools down, it is going to thicken up a little bit, but I already know this is way too liquidy for me. Now, I started off by putting in 1,000 grams in there, and that's from a 4-pound bag of sugar. But I'm going to adjust sort of the consistency of this. I may end up using the rest of the whole bag here, but I'm just going to sort of add it until I feel like the consistency is better. I added the whole bag of that 4-pound bag of sugar, and I added probably just about 4 drops of royal blue because I just wanted a nice light blue, and then have mixed it up. Now it's still pretty warm, so I'm going to let it sit and come to room temperature or cool down at least a little bit, and that should actually make it a little bit thicker or firmer. Right now it's like very wet sand, and some people, like a much looser consistency. I tend to prefer a thicker one, but I'm doing something a little bit different, just giving this a try. So I am going for a little bit of a looser consistency with this, but I still think it's going to thicken up just a little bit still as it cools, because remember we have beeswax in here, and we have hard oils like shea butter and cocoa butter, and they're going to thicken things up a little bit. So I'm going to let this sit, I'm going to clean up, and then we'll come back in a little bit. Okay, it sat in I put it in the fridge for a few minutes, and it's still a little warm. It's about 90 degrees, so I think this will firm up just a tiny bit more. But I think it's kind of perfect. It's got this sort of very wet sand quality to it. It's definitely not overly liquid, but it has a good sort of flow to it, I think. So again, I think this will probably firm up just a tad bit more as it cools down to sort of room temperature. But I'm liking the consistency that came out. So I ended up using the entire 4 pounds of sugar for that 1,000 grams of wet ingredients. And then you can see I have some 8-ounce amber jars, and I'll be packaging them up, just spooning them in here. And then I have lids that are going to go on top like this. If you don't have, jars like this, these happen to be from SKS bottles. If you don't have them, what you could use is if you go to Target or Walmart, mason jars. You can get 8-ounce mason jars that are sort of similar in size to this, but they're clear, obviously. You could package them in that. Now, the only caution I have about that is, since people tend to use this in the bath or the shower, I don't like to have glass in the bath or the shower because, people's hands are slippery and they could drop it and then the glass can break and then you're all naked and wet with broken glass all around you. So, but anyway, this is the container I use. You can certainly get clear containers if you're going to do a colored one. I happen to like the amber look of them. This is great. I just tested it out. You just put a little dollop in your hand, mix it with a little water, and then scrub it around. It leaves, I just did it on my hands. They feel awesome. I mean, they feel just smooth and silky and just fantastic. So that's it. Comments, questions, leave them below. If you like this video, click that thumbs up button. If you aren't subscribed, click on that subscribe button and check back here for more divinely designed videos. Okay, thanks everyone. Talk to y'all later. Bye.